All right. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a few weeks since we last joined our heroes in the Dreamwood. And due to the ultimate big bad, we're still short a couple of players due to scheduling issues. So instead of going on with the campaign proper, where the heroes found themselves in the alley with a big feathery creature, we're instead going to explore some of the backstories of three of the five heroes, namely Old Bog, Sotto, and Harlowe. This will be a brief glimpse into their background, who they are, where they came from, and why they do the things they do today. So this is going to be a one-shot kind of interlude, so to speak, while their respective lives flash before their eyes in this dark alley. And we'll start tonight's session by looking at where Old Bog came from. And that story begins in a place called Shady Grove. Hold on, let me change the music here. It's a little loud. There we go. All right. Whoa. Is that still loud for you guys?
So.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just turn this down a bit. There we go.
Yeah,
That's better. There we go. So, let me make sure that's okay. Old Bog, can you please describe to me what Shady Grove looks like? What you remember of Shady Grove, the place you grew up, the place you called home before your ass found that stool in the Copper Vat.
It's just the most beautiful place on earth. It's got green grass and a little brook running through it, and it babbles every once in a while. If you listen close enough, it'll tell you everything you need to know, and sun shining through the limbs of the trees, where little shadows dance on the grass. It's just the best place in the world.
And while you're growing up in this idyllic little community of servants on the outskirts, just maybe a few miles away from the Jowa Evertree, which you can see looming off in the distance, clearly a huge landmark for the entire Dreamwood, in fact, there has been a particular member of this community that you have had your eye on. A beautiful young doe named Cassie Sweetfern, who seems to have taken a shining to you as well.
Yeah, sweetest little thing you'd ever seen. I
And
remember it well.
She has made it concerted efforts to ensure your paths have crossed as often as possible. When she's doing her chores, she'll find some excuse to make sure that you either have to come along or her chores take you to wherever you might happen to be. And can you tell me, what is a typical day in Shady Grove for Old Bog? What does he do?
Well, usually just helping my mom and my brother keep house, getting some
All right.
chores done, helping out the neighbors, and I ain't much for talking, and I'm even worse when I'm talking with the does. So, yeah, I see when she's coming. Sometimes I pretend like I'm working.
But I'm curious though, has Cassie caught Old Bog's attention at all in a romantic kind of way? Or
Well, shit, I ain't blind. I'd say so.
all right. And she has kind of wormed her way into your household. She's become the best of friends with your mother and your family. Your mother almost considers her a daughter, and your mother has often talked to you, Old Bog. And this is well before you were actually called Old Bog. What
Yep.
is it that your mother calls you?
Well, back in the day, back at the Grove, I went by the name my mom gave me.
Which is?
Brittany. My name's Brittany Bog Yonder. That's what they knew me as back in the day.
And your mother would often take you aside and say, "Now, Brittany, you're not getting any younger, and there's a sweet old girl right here, constantly under your very nose. You ought to pay her some attention before she catches the attention of some other fine fellow in town.
Oh,
She's a
Mom.
catch."
Mom, you don't understand. I know. She's a sweetheart.
Well, then do something. Court her.
What do I do? Like, just ask her out
Oh,
for
goodness. You're
lunch or
just like your
something?
father. You're just like your father.
What, like
Talk,
bring her
talk
flowers
to
or
her.
something? Wait,
That
what?
would be a start. That would be a start. Flowers and conversation. Use your words, Brittany.
Well, Mom, that ain't my strong suit, but I'll try.
Don't let this one go, Brittany. She's a good one.
Mom, all right. What should I say?
And you see, as you're having this conversation in the kitchen, you see Cassie coming up to your house with a basket full of bread to give to your mother, and your mother sees this and pushes you out the door. Never, you'll figure something out. And she grabs a patch of daisies off the kitchen table, shoves it into your chest. Now go say hi.
All
And
right.
pushes you out the door.
Old Bog will grab, or Brittany will grab them and walk up to meet Cassie at the door and just shove them out in front of them. I got these for you.
You can see Cassie blush a little as you brusquely hold this fistful of flowers in her face. It's, oh, that's so sweet of you, Brittany. Thank you. And she carefully takes the flowers from your fist and tucks them into her basket. I'll put these in water as soon as I can. I brought bread for your mother and your family. Would you like to try one? They're fresh out of the oven. And she passes you a nice little cross bun.
Well, that's awful nice of you.
I'm and it's gone before she even has a chance to finish her sentences. I made them myself. You liked it?
I loved it, Cassie. You're quite a good baker.
She blushes a little bit at that. Says, "Oh, that's nothing. It's quite an easy recipe. In fact, Brittany." And she looks. She cannot make eye contact with you. Her head's she's looking towards the ground. She's kind of swaying back and forth, holding her basket. Do you like me, Brittany?
Yeah. Do you like
You do?
me?
Of course. But oh, why have you not courted me yet?
I don't know, Cass. I'm not very good with words.
Well, then let me speak for the both of us, then, if I may be so bold. Would you like to take me to the county fair next week?
Sure. That'd be nice. I think we'll have a good time.
When you say yes before you finish your sentence, she throws her arms around you. The kind of bread kind of scatters as she does this, and the basket kind of flies. So, thank you. I I dreamed of this day. And she gives you a quick peck on the cheek and rushes past you into the door. Realizes that half the bread is on the ground outside, rushes back up, starts to pick it up, and scrambles. Oh, sorry. And she runs
I'll
back inside.
help pick up the bread, and guess I'm sort of dumbfounded after the little peck on the cheek, so I'll just stand there like a dummy.
And as you look back, you see your mother watching from the kitchen window this entire time. And she's just grinning ear to ear and gives you a little thumbs up.
All right. I'll go back to tending the yard, doing my chores. But pretty excited about that country fair, to be honest with you.
So the week passes, and during that week, you spend more and more time with Cassie Sweetfern until the day of the county fair arrives, and folk from all over, not just Servan, but people from Jowa and even further abroad, people of all dressed in all sorts of strange attire, things that you've never seen. You grew up in Shady Grove. You never really left it. And this was all, it's like the world coming to Shady Grove. But what is going through Brittany's mind when you see all these strange folk wandering through town?
The world's a much bigger place than I thought it was.
And it's quite crowded here. You see people jostling to get into the fair itself, and some of them bump into you, and Cassie's on your arm, holding you tight. She's dressed in a beautiful, nice flower dress with flower prints on it. She's looking quite pretty, and she has daisies kind of tucked behind her ears, kind of almost like a wreath of them on her head. And she's getting bumped too, and there is in fact a Vulpin that seems to be in a rush, kind of pushes past you and shoves Cassie forward a little bit.
Hey, little guy, watch where you're going.
He turns around, and he's not so little, this Vulpin, and he kind of pulls himself to his full height, and he's pretty swole, this guy. And
Bog will puff out his chest.
And Cassie's like, "No, don't, it's okay. It's okay, Brittany." And the Vulpin just, "Yeah, it's okay, Brittany.
Mind your own business. Keep on going."
I was minding my own business until you made it my business." And he kind of takes a step forward, and as he says that, thrusts a meaty finger into your chest.
I'll swat it away and shove him on his shoulder.
All right. You see Cassie saying, No, don't. It's okay. I'm sure it was an accident. And the Vulpin just says, "You're going to let your little lady there stand up for you."
I told you to get on your way.
Can you make an intimidation check for me, please? Well, you know what? I'll just make it a contested one.
Okay.
Dice go here. Who the tougher guy is. Yeah. Sorry, I have you selected. That's why it shows up as you. That this is Vulpin. So, yes, you puff your chest out and tell him to get on his way. And for a brief moment, it looks like he's not. And you see a small kind of crowd gathering around you, hushed voices wondering if a fight is going to break out. But then the Vulpin thinks better of it and says, "Not worth my time." He looks over at Cassie and says, "If you're looking for a real man, you know where to find me." And he wanders off ahead of you.
Get back here. I said get back here.
Okay, can you make another intimidation check? All right. He stops and looks at you, and he's trying to discern what your intentions are. Do you want to fight him, or do you want to just have words with him?
He insulted Cassie. I want to fight him.
All right. He sees you kind of rolling up your sleeves, ready to start something, and he says, "I don't have time for this."
You
Miss,
apologize. You apologize to my friend
I
here.
am dreadfully sorry, miss, if I had caused any offense. But if you don't mind me saying, you can do a hell of a lot better than that.
I punch him.
Oh my gosh, okay. Ouch. All right. Just one punch and he's out. He is out. Drops. And he's on the ground. And Cassie says, "Oh my God." She looks horrified. And she's just looking at you, old bog. What did you? What? And she just grabs your hand and starts dragging you away from the scene as the crowd just starts. Some of them are cheering you on. Some of them are like whispering behind hands.
I will go along with Cassie wherever she's taking me.
All right. She takes you behind a stack of hay bales, and says, "Why did you do that? He was leaving. You didn't have to punch him."
No, he insulted you, Cass. I won't stand for it.
That was such a stupid thing for you to do.
Well, yeah, might have lost my temper, but...
She doesn't let you finish that sentence before she plants a kiss on you.
Ooh, baby. Ooh.
And here we are going to fade to black. And let's see. I don't know what the gestation period for servant are. But let's just say a few weeks later, she comes by your place once more, and your mother greets her first. They have words that you don't really hear what they're talking about. You're kind of off chopping firewood or something. Your mother points to where you are, and you can tell even from this distance she has a look on her face that is, you're not quite sure. Go ahead and make an insight check, actually, if you want to.
Look at these.
Yeah, you were never good at reading people, so so yeah, you have no idea. You just think your mother's pointing at you.
Yep.
And Cassie slowly passes the basket to your mother that she was carrying. She always comes with foodstuffs, and makes her way to you. Her hands kind of clasped in front of her as she walks towards you. Her head kind of down. She looks a little sheepish, and says, "Hello, Brittany. How are you?"
I'm good, Cass. How are you? Where have
I'm
you been? Haven't seen you in a little while.
I'm sorry about that.
Been thinking a
What
lot
are
about you there, Cass.
you have?
Yep.
I'm so relieved to hear that. I can't help. I can't stop thinking of our time together at the county fair. What are your plans for me, Brittany? Are you going to marry me?
Well, Cass. Yeah, I'm quite fond of you. I guess that's the plan.
I'm glad to hear that because we're going to have a child.
Uh, wait, what? Huh?
I'm pregnant, Brittany.
Wait, you're what?
Did your mother never tell you about the birds and the bees?
Well, I know how that stuff works, if that's what you're getting at.
Well, then you know that when we spent time together at the county fair, things happened and I got pregnant.
Yeah, but Cass, we only did it once.
She looks at you and says, do you not want this child with me?
Well, Cass, I mean, it'd be a nice thing one day, but we're both young. We got our whole lives ahead of us.
What are you saying, Brittany?
Well, don't tell my mom, but I was planning on leaving Shady Grove. Heading yonder, and he'll throw his chin up at the Jowa tree.
She's just looking at you, blinking. And you'll take me with you as your wife?
Well,
With our child?
Cass, the road can be dangerous, and who knows what we'll find yonder. Maybe let me get situated and I'll come back for you.
She slaps you across the face hard and walks away. And your mother just does a face palm.
Boggle stomp into the woods. Need some time alone, I guess.
All right. Do you ever return home?
I do. I'll stay in the woods till nightfall. When the moon's at its highest, I'll sneak back into my bedroom and pack my bag and hit the road.
Your mother stops you before you leave and says, Brittany, I raised you better than this. At least I hope to think so.
Mom,
where are you going?
I don't know, Mom. I need some time to figure this out.
We'll figure it out fast and get your ass back here and do the right thing by that girl.
For the first time in his life, he'll turn his back on his mom and leave.
Yes. What is your character's last name again?
Bog yonder.
Bog yonder. Okay. She calls from the door. Brittany Bog yonder. If you do not turn your ass around now and walk back into this house, don't ever bother coming back.
I'll turn, take one last look at Mom in the homestead, and then turn and hit the road.
Make your way to the Jowa Ever Tree. It's not that far. It just takes maybe half a day to get there from where you are. You wander through the streets of the Tangle. It's getting dark, and your stomach is beginning to grumble. You realize that you hadn't even bothered to eat before you rushed off that night. When you catch the scent of orange peels and cinnamon wafting down the street from what sounds to be a tavern, you hear voices raised, laughter, the clinking of mugs, and you're drawn towards it. You look up at the sign and you see there a wooden placard emblazoned with a large copper vat, and hence the name, the Copper Vat. You look inside and you see this place is packed. People are enjoying the mulled wine, enjoying some good food. The smell of food kind of intermixed with the smell of the spiced mulled wine. You see standing behind the bar a woman, a gallus, serving customers with a smile and kind of running around her aprons is a young girl.
Yeah, old Bog is just soul crushed. The sound of revelry maybe is trying to penetrate his crushed soul, but it's kind of heavy right now. But I'll head into the bar and head to what it looks like this lady's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Start to make my way towards her, but peel back. Head just grab a seat at the bar, I guess.
All right. So you pull up a stool to the bar, and you see a woman standing behind her, sees you and says, "Now, what's with the long face?" And she pushes a mug of mulled wine in your direction.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, you know that that's not allowed in my establishment, so drink up. Hopefully, put a smile on your face. My name is Willow, by the way. And if you ever need anything, more refreshments, a bite to eat, just holler my name and I'll.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. I'll just slump on the stool.
All right. Can you make a perception check for me, please? All right. So you slump at the stool, kind of. I guess your gaze is trapped in this mug of mulled wine in front of you. So much so that you don't hear footsteps coming up behind you and a tap on your shoulder.
I'll turn without saying anything.
It's the Vulpin from a week ago, still sporting a shiner on his right eye where you hit him.
Oh, fuck, it's you again. What do you want?
We have some unfinished business.
Do we? I knocked your ass out.
Oh, the sucker punch. You call that a fight? You little.
Well, you want to take it outside? We ain't throwing in here.
Willow, you can see Willow behind the bar just kind of eyeing the two of you and says, "Now that's right. I don't want any trouble in my establishment. If you have beef, take it outside." And when she says this, kind of a whisper kind of spreads throughout the entire establishment, and then you start hearing a low chant starting up. Fight, 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 fight.
Unfortunately, Bog isn't feeling very rowdy at the moment. Hey, look, I just got a drink here. I ain't got time for you. Like I said, get on your way.
The Vulpin just turns around, waves his hands up in the air. "Well, I thought this was a servant. Turns out he's a chicken."
Oh, fuck, you just might be right.
Ah, I knew it. All you're good at is sucker punching innocent people. Now, if you ever want to man up and face me in a fair fight, you know where to find me. And he walks over to a table with 3 other Vulpin.
I'll follow him.
As
off.
you get
I'll get off my stool and follow him over to his table.
okay, he notices you following him, turns around and says, kind of spreads his arms out at you, kind of provocatively. You can see that the entire tavern is looking at you. Says, so what's it gonna be, chicken?
I'll let my hands dangle at my side and say, stick out my chin. Take your best shot.
He kind of looks a little surprised at that. Says, what the hell is this? Are we fighting or what? I'm not just gonna... What is wrong with you?
Like I said, this is your one chance. Take it.
Can you make a persuasion check? You weren't worth my time a week ago. You ain't worth my time tonight. I got mulled wine to drink. You know what? If you want to get punched in a fair fight, come get me. And he walks away.
Boggle turn around, get back to his stool. Can't even take a good punch when he wants one. When he needs one, when he deserves one.
Willow, you notice, has been watching this whole thing unfold, and you you hear sounds of disappointment from the crowd in the tavern. And, oh, they all kind of like realized bets had been placed between people, and people are starting to pull their money back, and everyone's quite disappointed. But Willow leans in and says, I don't think I've ever seen anyone handle a situation quite like that before.
Well, been a bad couple of days for me, ma'am. I think I got that coming.
No. Everyone has bad days. Doesn't mean everyone deserves a licking for them. You just drink up. This one's on the house. Take your time. And by the way, what I haven't seen you in these parts in my establishment anyway before. Where are you staying?
Just got into town. I don't know where I'm staying. All I know is a stool under my butt. That's all I got right now.
You see the young girl pulling on her apron, saying, Mommy, he can stay in our closet. And Willow looks down at the little girl and says, now, Winnie, this fine gentleman does not want to sleep in a closet. But she looks at you and says, if you are new in town and you need a place to stay, I can pull a cot out for you. And if it's a job you're looking for, maybe I can help you get set up.
Well, that's mighty nice of you, ma'am. And indeed, at the end of the day, I think that cot sounds kind of nice. And she's a cutie.
Oh, that's my daughter, Winnie. No, Winnie, go set the cot up in the closet. And she looks back and says, I am terribly sorry. That is the only space we have available.
That'll do. Keeps the rain off my head.
Now drink up and forget your worries, at least for tonight.
Mighty nice of you, ma'am. Much obliged.
And as she walks off to serve other patrons, and you see the young girl, her daughter, rush off to fetch a cot and prepare the closet for your stay. you catch a glimpse of yourself in the shiny copper vat. And as you look at yourself, Willow kind of calls back at you and says, "By the way, I don't think I ever caught your name. What shall I call you?"
You can call me Bog.
"Very well, old Bog. Welcome to the Copper Vat."
I'll just nod and smile. A forced smile.
And as you're seated on that stool, the years pass, and the stool starts to wear into your form. Willow, who was matronly to start with, passes on when he takes over. Becomes an adult in her own right and keeps you on as bouncer and protector of the Copper Vat through good times and in bad. You are family.
And that is Old Bog's story.
Very nice. Bit of a cad to start with.
Some guys just don't know any better.
All right. Next up.
That was awesome. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you. Next up, we'll go to Sotto.
Hello.
I'm just going to hide these others while we're here. Sotto. You are, 18 years old, I believe?
Yep.
Living in the upper, reaches of the canopy with your family. Can you please describe to us who your family are, what they do, what your daily life is up in the canopy?
Sure. So, when I was thinking of Soto's story in my head, my favorite movie is The Sound of Music. So,
Love the movie.
Imagine
Yeah.
they're a family of performers, and I know that they don't have houses per se, but I like to think they have a large dwelling just filled with stuff related to Ardea. There's musical instruments, there's light, there's a lot going on, but it feels very warm to people that know them. Yeah, but they are serious performers doing shows all around, in the tree, outside of the tree, a traveling band of musicians and actors, actresses, whatever.
All right. So this is what the crown looks like, and this is what you would have called home growing up. And this is where the wealthy and the elite folk of the Jowa Evertree live and reside, and this is where you grew up. When you have been called by your father, Sotto, you are of age now, where you can choose your own path, your own destiny. I ask of you now, will you join our family in our profession, in our livelihood, in our worship?
Oh, sorry. I also forgot to mention Soto is not the name he was born with.
Okay.
He goes by Marquek.
Marquette. All right. Can you spell that for me?
Sure. Marokwek. That's his birth name.
Okay. So your father says, Marquette, you need to make a decision. Your 18th birthday is approaching. And you need to decide if you're going to be a part of this family or not. I know you have been uncontent. I can see it in your lackluster performances, your attitude. And you know what? If you're not cut out for this, maybe that's okay. You are not given the gift as the rest of us were.
Well, Father, if it's an answer you're looking for, absolutely not. Consider this my invitation to leave.
Very good. I would say that I am disappointed, but I am honestly not.
Oh, that wouldn't be a surprise then, would it?
Well, you are emancipated. You can do whatever you wish, but I would hope that you do not linger within the crown. It would reflect badly upon the family if you did so.
Oh, of course it would, just like my existence has all these years. I bet you're happy to see me go. I bet you're gonna watch as I take every step farther away from you.
Marquek. Despite what you might think of me, I've only ever thought of giving you the best that you are capable of. Now, just because you don't have the gift as your brothers and sisters do does not mean I think any less of you. It simply means that you must walk a different path.
Oh, really? If you think so less, then why are we even having this conversation?
Well, I
Seems like
simply
that's all this is about.
Well, to be frank, your attitude as of late has not helped. The strain you're putting on your mother and your brothers and sisters is frankly unhelpful. And perhaps a little bit of a break might do everyone some good.
A break, yeah. You all need a break. 18 years I've done this. I've played my part. I sang your songs. I said all my prayers. And what do I get? I'm excused now. I can go.
If it's money you want, yeah, of course. He reaches for a little pouch and
He's gonna slap it away. Money? You're gonna offer me money? You think something so material can just buy back all of those years? All the instances of my differences being shoved down my throat? Money. You take your money. Buy yourself something nice.
don't know what to do with you, Marquek. You've had a chip on your shoulder from the day you were born, and I've done what I can. He leaves the pouch of coins on the desk and walks out. And you see as he walks out, a little face kind of poking in of your sister Delilah. And as you hear your father's footsteps retreat, Delilah just in soft voices, "Are you okay, Marquek?"
I suppose, in a way, won't be staying here much longer, that's for sure.
Where will you go?
I don't know. Somewhere far down below. As far as I can go. This this place, this level of living that you're all in, doesn't mean anything to me.
I don't want you to go.
I think you're the only one that thinks that. Don't see any of the others coming out to console me.
She takes a step forward and gives you a hug. If there's anything you need, I know Father can be a bit brusque sometimes, a little cold and very demanding. But if there's anything you need from the family or just someone to talk to, you know where to find me.
I might know where to find you, but I don't know how you're gonna find me.
I've submitted an application to become a warden. I haven't told Father yet, but perhaps once you get settled, you can send word to the hole in the ball where I'll be receiving my training, and I'll know where you are.
Delilah, that's a huge commitment. Are you really sure that's what you want?
It is. It's important to me what we have here in Chowa. It's more than the songs. It's more than the performances. It's sacred. I don't think I was named Delilah for no reason.
Well, as long as it's not something you were forced to do, then I support what you want to do.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. And yes, this is something I very, very much want to do. You will come visit.
He's just gonna scoff and say, "Visit what? This home? This empty place with no meaning for me now?"
If not home, then visit me in the hole in the ball. And let me know where you are so I can come visit you.
Fine. But you tell no one else. You're the only one that's going to know.
I promise. But what are you going to do?
Find my
Coins
own-
that Father gave you will only last a little while.
I don't need coin. Find my own path. Make my own way. Don't know how, but I have to do this for myself.
Of course you do. And I fully support you. But if you find yourself in dire straits, come to the shrines. You can at least find respite and shelter there. I hate to think of you wandering cold and alone on the streets below.
Cold? I don't know if I would enjoy that, but the alone part might be for the best. But I'll remember what you say. I might just take it as a last resort.
Please do. And she reaches in to like a little pocket on the inside of her robes and pulls something out. It's a little bracelet woven from like sweet grass kind of thing. And she holds it out and tries it. May I?
If that's what you want, and he'll hold out his wrist or whatever.
Okay. And she ties it on there. And kind of as she does, when she finishes tying on this bracelet, she takes your hand in hers and holds it tight. This, I know Father and the rest of the family, to some extent, has made your life difficult up here. And I'm sorry for that. But don't ever forget that you're still loved.
I won't, but don't take all the blame on yourself.
She pauses for a moment as she looks at you. It's as if she's taking you in one last time with her eyes and just kind of pulls you in for a hug and a kiss and just whispers in your ear, "Take care of yourself, Marquek."
I will. When you see me next, I may not go by that name. Just remember that.
Find me.
It's a promise.
I'll keep you to it. And she backs away from you until last thing she's doing is holding your hand until she lets that drop. Turns around and walks out the door.
And he's just gonna pick a random direction and start walking. He's got no plans, did not plan this out. He's just going with the
Okay.
flow.
All right. So you find an elevator, a lift that will take you down from the canopy to the tangle. There's only so many places you can go in the crown without bumping into somebody you know or knows your family. So if you want to get away from all that, you need to go down. All right, so you take the elevator down. Find yourself wandering the streets of the tangle. Where did you go here? What guides Marquek's footsteps? What is going through his mind?
I think that with every step he takes away from home, he wants to further distance himself from who he had to be, what he was told to be, especially his lineage. So, just physical and mental distancing.
You take the coins that your father gave you.
No, he did not take the coins. He did not want any sort of compensation from that man.
Okay. What belongings do you think Sotto would or Marquek be carrying at this time?
Well, I guess he obviously had to pay to take the elevator, right?
Mhm.
So I think he probably sold a trinket or two that he might have had on him from the family wares, I guess. I don't know. I feel like as performers, they'd probably have some sort of fancy costumes. So you maybe would take some jewels off of there and try to haggle them off somewhere. But in terms of him taking anything, I think he just took the clothes off his back. Or on his back, rather.
Okay.
I don't think he's really carrying anything.
As you're wandering through these streets alone, it is later in the evening. You hear voices and laughter coming from homes and taverns as you walk through these winding roads. When you hear a voice from behind you, "Are you lost, stranger?"
Lost is a strong word, but the right one. I have no idea where I'm going.
Perhaps I can be of assistance. And a hooded figure steps out from the shadows. A Vulcan wearing a cloak. My name is Scarlet, and I'm at your service.
Scarlet. Name is Sotto. Sotto. Yeah, my name is Sotto.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Sotto. You know, the streets of the Tangle are not quite what they used to be, and I can tell you, as she looks at what you're wearing, you're not from the Tangle, are you?
Oh, I'm definitely not.
Then you must be very careful where you tread through these streets. Some of them, the darker corners, can be quite dangerous. Please allow me to escort you to your destination, wherever that might be.
I don't have anywhere in mind, but I'm curious as to why you're helping someone you just met.
Well, can a Vulcan simply not do a good deed? I mean,
I suppose, but usually when people have approached me, they've wanted something in return.
well, I simply want nothing more than your company.
Interesting.
You seem skeptical. As she reaches into her robe and pulls out a long pipe.
That would be correct. But, as it stands, I know no one here. You're the only one here. I guess I have no choice but to trust you.
You're from up there, aren't you? As she points up to the massive canopy above you.
Yes, came from that facade.
You don't think much of that place, then, though, or the people who live up there?
Never did. It's all fake to me.
Very interesting. As she's packing her pipe, finished packing it, and starts to light it up, and you hear the hiss of a match. And then the pungent odor of the tobacco. Tell me, I I share your disdain for those who live in such wealth and glamour, looking down upon us common folk living here in the Tangle. Perhaps our paths were meant to cross. Perhaps we could help each other out.
And what would you have me do?
Oh, simply conversation. I would love to hear more about what life is like up there.
It's quite a performance, really. There's social gatherings, expectations, spending.
I see. And
Could go on.
are you from one of those families up there?
Yes, I was born into it.
But you reject that lifestyle now.
They didn't want me there. I finally figured that out.
Perhaps, perhaps they need to be taught a lesson.
What do you mean by that?
Perhaps they are so blinded by their own importance or sense of self-importance and wealth and privilege that they are blind to the realities of life of common folk. I simply wish to lift that veil.
I think that would be a very monumental task.
I am not talking about a revolution, just the odd. Hmm. You seem like a trustworthy young fellow. Perhaps if you can tell me the inner workings of some of these buildings up there, perhaps I can find my way in, perhaps relieve them of some of their ill gotten wealth. Perhaps I could share it with you and perhaps more evenly distribute the wealth amongst the common folk.
If you mean to steal, by all means, but I don't need any of it. Give it to someone else that needs it.
Steal is such a dirty word. I picture myself as a redistributor of happiness. Yes, I like that. I redistribute happiness in the form of whether that be material goods or because of course material goods in and of themselves aren't do not bring happiness, but it is things you can purchase with them, the things you can experience with them that bring that joy. And that's what I aim to do. So please, if you could give me any information, I would gladly take you up on your offer and I truly respect your nobility and your honor in not partaking in that wealth. Rest assured that wealth will be distributed to those who need it the most.
Hmm. Your your cause is interesting, I'll give you that. Do you have any paper, a pen handy?
With a flourish, she opens her robes and pulls out a quill and a scroll.
He's gonna take it from her and probably just do some really basic blueprints of some of the larger dwellings that he's been in, oh, here's a back door that you can go into, and this house is usually unoccupied at this time, and the maids at this house usually end their shifts at whatever, just little tidbits like that. And then when he's finished, he'll hand it back to her and say, as I said, you do what you will with your redistribution of happiness, as you call it. All I want in this life is to make sure that no one ever feels how I did. Ever again.
I am so sorry that you have fallen upon such hard times. And rest assured, as she quickly rolls up the scrolls and the parchment and tucks it into her robe and gives it a little tap and says, rest assured, your help will help others experience happiness immeasurably. It's been a pleasure making your acquaintance, Sotto. Uh, I
And
dare say our paths will cross again, but I do appreciate your assistance in these matters.
we'll just give a nod and then ask, if one was to start anew, do you have any suggestions as to where they should go from here?
Down below, get as far away from those prying eyes as possible. Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly my intentions.
Well, I do wish you best of luck, Sotto. And thank you once more for this information. You will make many people very happy.
Good luck with your endeavors.
Gives you a flourish of a bow with her pipe in one hand and kind of throws her hood back with the other. And you can see like the fiery red fur. And it's just at your service. And walks quickly down the street and disappears into the shadows.
Okay, are there any, like, like, you know how you see, like, travel signs that say, like, oh, 20 kilometers to over here and, like, 10 to over here? Are there any that are, like, this way to the down below?
Yeah. So you're looking about, wondering where the heck to go now, how to get to this down below place that you've been told about. There are no signs like that around. You do see where you're standing now. You can see maybe a block away. You can smell it before you see it. The smell of spiced cinnamon and orange peel, the Copper Vat. But before that, maybe just a few homes before that, you see a large archway formed from the roots of this massive tree. And beyond that, you see an expansive set of stairs carved out of the earth itself going down, lit by torches along the way.
Okay, well, I guess he'll use his what little knowledge he has so far and go down the stairs.
All right.
This leads us the right direction.
All right. So you go down the stairs, and they're going down a long way, longer than you had expected to. You thought maybe I'll flight or two of stairs and I'm in the basement or down below. No, you're going way down, just as far as like the Jowa tree is high, the stairs go that far down. And it's a long, slow spiral staircase. And as you get deeper and deeper into the earth, the torches begin to sputter and smoke. The humidity kind of increases a little, it gets a little damper, a little colder. And the light from the torches is soon replaced by a light bioluminescent fungus and fireflies, or beetles, not necessarily flies at this depth, and glowworms, until after walking what seems to be many, many, many minutes, you emerge in an enormous cavern. And as you do so, it is filled with lights and an expansive night market filled that's bustling even at this time of night. The smell of food fills this cavern. You can hear the sound of rushing water, the drips from the stalactites, stalagmites. This place, despite it being so far below the earth, is filled with life and light. And the thing that catches you immediately is a food stall off to one side, occupied by a mapak, and the smell of roasted nuts just is so inviting because you realize you left home without eating. It's been quite a long journey down. And you see the mapak actually sees you before you see it. And he motions over to you. Come, come. You look like a hungry, lost fellow. Please. He packs up a little bag of roasted nuts and passes it to you.
I think he's gonna, like, finally notice his own stomach growling and be like, "Oh, and then just kind of convince himself that it's okay, and then he'll approach. He won't say anything yet.
Do you take the bag?
He'll take the bag, but he'll first say, excuse me, I don't have anything to offer you in return."
Oh, nonsense. It's just a bag of nuts. You look like you could use some food in your belly. Go ahead, take it.
"Oh, if you're sure, I would appreciate the kindness." And he'll eat
And you,
the whatever.
okay. You see this tiny little gerbine come running around. And he's got in his tiny little hands like some dried fruit. Looks like dried apples. And he comes up to how tall is Soto?
Good question. I don't think he's mega tall because I made him off of burrowing owls. So, how tall do you think Merle is? And then we'll go on from there.
Merle would probably be about 4.5 feet tall.
Okay. We'll go that he's 3.5 feet tall then.
Okay. And this gerbine, it barely a foot. So it comes running up. It's a child holding up this large piece of dried apple up at Jesus. Hey, mister, do you want some apple?
Oh, hello, little one. Have you had your share first?
And you see the Mapak say, "Oh, yes. Excuse my boy there. TP, it's very nice of you to offer." It kind of comes around the food cart, lifts him up, and you TP, the little gerbine, still holding this piece of apple out towards you. Yes, of course. He's very well fed, and you can tell TP's a little rotund. He's not wanting for food.
Well, in that case, I'll gladly accept, and he'll take it and say, "Thank you."
You're welcome, mister. And the Mapak sets him down and says, "Now you run along home, TP. I'm just going to finish up your cleanup, and I'll be right home to cook you dinner." "Are we gonna have roasted locusts again?" Yes. You had that for the last 5 days in a row. You might want to try something a little different. It's my favorite. And he just kind of rolls his eyes and looks at you and shrugs. It's his favorite.
Nothing wrong with enjoying something you love.
Words, so true. And he holds his hand out and says, "Our name's Merle."
He'll slowly return the handshake, would say, "Sotto."
"Well, pleased
Nice
to meet you, Soto."
you.
And he looks at you. "You're new to the down below."
I suppose you could tell.
"Oh, that's all fine. We get all sorts down here." You look up.
It was a one-way trip. I have no idea what I'm doing.
He pauses for a moment, puts like a little scooper for his nuts down, turns the heat down on his stove a little bit, and comes around. And there's a little bench near his food stall, and says, "Come, sit."
Oh, well, only if you have the time.
"I have time. Don't worry. The little ones, I feed them every 2 hours. They'll be fine."
That's quite the routine.
They eat a lot, but I like to cook. So tell me, sorry, your name was again?
And it still sounds unfamiliar in his mouth because he just made it up. So he's like, it's Sotto. Yeah, Sotto. That's my name, Sotto.
He looks a little oddly at you. Well, Mr. Sotto, welcome to the down below. And I can tell, if you don't mind me being so presumptuous, that you seem to have had a rough day.
Rough is one word to describe it. Yes, certainly not the outcome I was expecting when I woke up this morning.
He looks around at the cavern and he asks you to do the same. He says, this place here is filled with those that the up above discarded, have forgotten about, have neglected. And we have all gathered here and made a new home for ourselves within the roots of this great tree. You are not alone.
That sounds perfect.
Well, it would seem as though you have found a new home then. And I would like to invite you to mine.
Oh, but we just met. Are you sure you have the...
For a meal, yes, my table is always welcome to newcomers.
You have a kind heart.
And you, my friend, have an empty belly. I could hear it a mile away as you were coming down the stairs. Now that I can fix.
That is all I would ask of you at the moment. I guess I didn't eat anything before I left.
That's just familiar story. So that's settled. You'll join me and my family for dinner. As he gets up, give me a moment here to pack up and I'll take you home. And as he does so, he kind of looks over at you and says, I hope you like children.
Well, I was the youngest out of 5, so I'm not used to younger ones running around, but I'm sure I can make do.
They always love visitors. They're a little rambunctious, but they're good kids.
Children bear no judgments. We'll get along just fine.
Excellent then. And he finishes packing up his stall, bundles up the rest of the nuts into a bag, shuts his stall down, closes the louver, and draws the blinds for it so it's all tidied up, and follow me.
That
And
I will.
As he leads you across to his home, you see what you would come to know as almost like a nightly ritual. Performances occurring in the center of this night market where they reenact the story of the Spiritsong. It's a tale that they never tire of telling and every night new citizens of the down below would play different roles, some of them with more gusto than others, and often children would partake. And what are your thoughts as you pass through the down below at this time?
I think that seeing the performance, he would ask Merle, that tale. Seems it's reached down here as well. Is that a regular occurrence, those performances?
Yes, it happens every night. Of course, a different interpretation. No two shows are ever quite the same. But yes, the people seem to love that story. The children, especially.
Do the children learn anything from it?
What do children ever learn from things that we try to teach them? But if nothing else, it teaches them hope and the power of good.
Interesting. If it were me putting on the show or directing it, I would hope that the children know that your blood does not become you.
He pauses as you say that, just looks at you curiously once more and says, I look forward to getting to know you, Sotto. It sounds as though you have many stories to tell.
Ah, yes. I have many for another time, but I'm sure we'll get to those.
I'm sure we will. We have all the time in the world down here. As he puts an arm around your shoulder, gives you a pat, and says, come now. Dinner's waiting.
So nice.
All right. And that is where we'll leave Sotto. And next
Yay, thank you.
And last but not least, we will move over to the Yingxing Research Outpost, where we find a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Harlowe. Now, how old are you at this point, Harlowe?
I think if it's kind of what we were chatting about before, she would be like equivalent to about 17. So like 11 or 12 in Mapak, actual years.
Okay. And what is the day-to-day life for Harlowe?
So her general sort of stuff she gets up to would be fixing anything around the outpost that needs fixing. If the weather in the ocean has damaged things, she always is coming up with some way to resolve stuff because there's only so many people around here. She does a lot of studying. She does a lot of lab work and experiments on her own time. She's always trying to come up with like little gadgets and things like that. And then working on anything that would be sort of like apprenticed to the academic studies of Professor Corvus. So, or Copris, sorry. So a lot of like natural like things from this sort of area, this sort of environmental biome. She does a lot of studies on the things that are brought back from the out islands. And just kind of like trying to find fun things to do. But a lot of it's very like academic, and she just kind of finds ways to make that fun.
All right. As you're busy doing your chores, perhaps reorganizing a library, restacking, putting things away, cleaning things up, you hear the door swing open very suddenly with a loud bang, and in comes your friend, Edwin.
Edwin, I wasn't expecting you. How long have you been here?
Oh, I just got in. How you been, little one?
I've been amazing. You have to see what I'm working on. Look at this. Okay. Last time you came back and you brought that bioluminescent starfish, and I have been trying to figure out a way to turn it into a lamp and to make it like bioluminate on command. So I've been trying to like make it like be switch on and off. And I almost have it, but I have to have access to seawater. So it maybe only will work here at the outpost. And not on land. But for now, it's really cool. Look. And I'm going to like show him when I like splash it with a bucket of water.
You see Edwin, he is totally enthralled by you, but he has no clue what you're talking about. He's just smiling and nodding blankly. Absolutely wonderful, Harlowe. You never cease to amaze me. Such a brilliant mind, and you're going to be such an excellent professor one day. I have absolutely no doubts.
Thank you so much. That's really nice of you to say. Oh, maybe one day. Maybe one day. I could teach. Oh my gosh, that would be a lot of people to talk in front of, to teach things in a class. Maybe I could teach somewhere around here, kind of like Professor Copris does for me.
Ah, yes. Speaking of which, I have something for you, but you must not tell him.
Oh, okay,
It's just
like
a secret
a secret.
between you.
Okay.
You can keep a secret now, can't you?
I think so. I don't think I don't think I've had any before, but I can try.
And he takes a box out from a pouch. It looks like a plain old box, but it has a sliding lid on it, and inside you see your dragonfly.
Wow, this is really cool. Where's this from?
Oh, it's from a very far away place, very dangerous, and maybe one day I'll take you there.
Wow. Did you knew about this from my drawing?
What drawing?
In my sketchbook. Last time that you came back with Professor Copris, you were telling me about like all the different insects and plants that you saw, like you guys always do. And so I was drawing plants and insects, and because I always do that when you're telling me stories, and I drew a dragonfly, and it looks exactly like this. I just thought you thought that was cool and brought me something that looks like it.
No. Um,
Oh,
may I, uh, you're saying that this dragonfly that I procured from a place hundreds of miles from here on a remote island that was never discovered before, filled with strange and magical creatures, you drew.
well, I mean, it looks similar. So I'm going to pull up my dragonfly sketch in my sketchbook and show it to him. And like, from what I can tell, it looks like identical. So I was just assuming that he like did that on purpose.
Where do you get the inspirations for your sketches?
Well, this one was last time you came back with Professor Cobras from your last trip out to the Out Islands, and you were kind of telling me about the expedition and the things that you encountered. And I don't know, I'm going to shuffle some of these pages and show you. Look, I have drawings of, different leaves and things that you described in more detail, but you just said insects. And so I started drawing different kinds of bugs that I imagined would be really cool and maybe look kind of like the plants and things out there. And I drew this one, and I really liked the sketch. I thought it was really good, but it just came from my imagination.
Sudden. Go ahead and make an insight check for me, please.
Okay. Oh, I haven't rolled in a long time. This is exciting. Okay.
You can see a clear look of concern on Edwin's face. As he passes the box with the dragonfly to you, you hear footsteps approaching in the hall outside. And he says, please, hide this quickly.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna put it in my bag, in my like my tool belt satchel thing.
Okay. And actually, I'll take you to the library that you guys are in. You're actually in Silverberry's library at the moment.
Okay.
1 second. Where did it go?
He has the best library anyway.
You're down there. Silverberry's not there at the moment, and Edwin is with you.
Okay.
All right. And it is Professor Silverberry that you hear approaching. As he enters the room and sees the two of you kind of huddled by a desk there. Says, "Ah, Edwin! Such a pleasant surprise to see you here. And how are things coming along? Harlowe is... Uh, I
Going
see
really well.
my library seems to be the tidiest it has ever looked. Thank you so much for your efforts."
Oh, of course. Yeah. Every time I go through a book, I'm trying to work on, I'm going to call it lightning tether, but I'm trying to build it right now. And every time I go through a book, I just kind of put it back kind of in the place where I think it should go. But mostly I've been reading the ones that are out already. So it's just been getting tidier the more I research.
Fascinating. Mr. Edwin, it would seem that Professor Copris would like to have a word with you, if you don't mind. And Edwin says,
Oh.
"Of course, Professor Silverberry." He looks back at you, Harlowe, and says, does this, and says, gives you a wink. And he leaves. And, whoops, I didn't mean to hide you too. Sorry. And Professor Silverberry comes to you and says, "Now, what was all that about, that little sly wink in a..."
I don't think that, I think that he arrived and Professor Copris didn't expect him this early. I think he came to see me before he reported to Professor Copris.
Ah, I see. Can you make a deception check for me, please?
Sure. Oh, jeez.
Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I keep doing that. You can tell he just smiles kindly at you. Doesn't give away that he knows that there's something else going on.
Yeah.
And says, "Oh, may I ask what books interest you the most within this library?"
Well, lately I've been reading a lot on sort of arcane connection and lightning magic. I don't, I'm not a wizard or anything, but I like to build things. And I thought if there are ways to harness that into some kind of functional technology, that would be really cool. And then other people could use that. And then, my regular studies on things from this area, natural phenomena and creatures and flora, fauna. I've been reading a lot about insects lately from the Out Islands.
Insects. Fascinating. And from the Outer Islands, too.
Yes, well, whenever Professor Cobras goes out on his expeditions, I always like to hear about what's going on, and he always, will bring me work to do. So I tend to try to know more than he asks me to, so I can do everything that I possibly can to do the work well.
How do you like your life here at the outposts?
I love it. Look at all these books. There's so much to learn, and I could swear I've read them all, but every single day I find something new.
So you're happy here?
Shouldn't I be?
Well, it's not your typical upbringing for children your age, although I dare say you are growing up quite quickly. But would you not rather be on shore with friends and doing other things?
Professor, okay, promise you don't tell Professor Cobras. But when he sends me into land to get the mail and pick up news and research, sometimes I will go to the docks and just listen to the sailors tell stories. And they're really funny. And some of them I think of as my friends now because they will tell me stories every time I go. And sometimes I will make gadgets for the kids in town. They know where they can find me when I'm in town. So I'll make them funny things like little things that make funny noises when people pass by and stuff like that. Just, something to do. But I don't know, everyone's life seems different and it's cool to learn about them. Like a story.
Indeed. Like a story.
Mhm.
And Harlowe, what do you remember about your arrival here? What is your story?
Well, I don't know. I was pretty little when I got here, and I don't really remember anything from before. I remember growing up here, and I don't know. It's hard. I mean, what's your oldest memory? Do you remember being really little?
Oh, those were many, many years ago. I barely remember what I did yesterday. But,
Well,
oh,
yeah, I don't know. It's hard to remember back then. I don't really know much more than the masters told me.
well, I, for one, am very pleased that you are here. You have been an enormous help, both here at the outpost and for me in particular. I don't think I could function, honestly, without your help. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome, Professor. I'm always happy to help. And thank you for letting me hang out in your library. It's one of my favorite places here.
He looks around and says, "Oh, it's adequate, I suppose." Oh, one more thing. I'm expecting um an apprentice of my own within the next little while.
Wow,
So you won't be alone much longer. You will have company.
wow, that's really exciting. You're taking an apprentice. How long has
Yeah.
it been since you've had an apprentice?
Oh, quite some time now. But this one is coming under special circumstances from the Luminarium itself.
Wow, you must be working on something really exciting.
Indeed. Indeed. Um, apparently she shares a common interest in the stars.
Oh, wow, then it'll be a perfect fit for you.
Indeed, I do hope so. But more importantly, I hope that she ends up being a friend to you. This
That's
outpost is not a place for a youngster like yourself to be alone. You must have friends.
I mean, I have friends. I have friends, and I have you, and I have Professor Cobras, and
Oh,
it's
no, my
familiars,
dear
and
girl. We're not. We're too old to be friends. He kind of pokes at the banister behind him. Says, "Oh, I'm as thick as this piece of wood here. I'm not a friend to you. No. You need folks your own age, son, so you can talk to, gossip and all that."
maybe I don't know. I don't know if that's more important than everything we're doing here, though. There's so much to learn in this world. We only have so much time.
So true. So true. You can see his gaze kind of drift off when he says that. This, oh, and I know you like Edwin's company. He's a wild one, that one, full of adventure and a zest for life, which is admirable. But I dare say, please, um, be careful around that one.
What do you mean?
Well, how shall I put this delicately? He is like the wind, comes and goes when he pleases, and you're never quite sure when that will be. You cannot hold the wind, you cannot pin it down, you cannot contain it.
That's true. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. The wind is the wind. It's not being cruel when it acts by its own nature.
Oh, you're wise beyond your years. Much wiser than this old Gerbine. But I just simply wanted you, if you are to spend your efforts into forging some sort of meaningful relationship, I only suggest that Edwin may not be deserving of
Hmm.
all your attention. Someone more suitable, perhaps.
Well, I mean, he's not here very often. I wouldn't say that he has all my attention. When he comes, sure, he has great stories, and I'm always happy to hear them and to see him. But is there something wrong?
No, nothing wrong. He's just simply a character that simply does not belong.
Hmm.
If you catch my drift, don't expect someone like Edwin to be in your life for long periods of time.
Oh, I would never. I wouldn't. I mean, he's a ranger and he's an adventurer. They go, like you said, where the wind takes them. And I'm just happy to hear the stories after. Like the sailors in port, they always have great things to tell, but, I'm here. That's all I expect.
Of course.
But thank you for looking out for me, Professor.
Yes. What were we talking about?
You were telling me that you have some really exciting new research that you're working on with your new apprentice.
Oh, yes, the stars, yes. Um, I, I think I must update my notes. And he gets up and starts to walk towards his desk on the far side of the room, completely forgetting that you are there. Now he's lost in his own thoughts.
Okay, well then, I guess I'm gonna. I don't know. That was odd. I've never really had any reason to think anything bad about Edwin as a person, So maybe I'm gonna see if I can go find him and see what he's up to. So I guess I'm gonna. Oh, not right click. I'm gonna head out of the library.
Okay. You make your way. It's not a very big outpost. You can cover the length of it in like a minute. So, and you hear the sound of raised voices coming from Professor Cobris's office.
Okay.
Edwin and Professor Cobris seem to be in a heated discussion.
Okay, that's weird. Professor Silverberry's freaking prophesizing things. Okay, I guess I'm gonna sneak up to the door and see if I can hear what they're arguing about.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay.
First a stealth check and a perception check.
Okay. Okay, that's not bad.
Okay.
That was good.
The door to Professor Cobris's office is quite thick and warped from this humid salt air. But you can hear them clearly talking. You catch snippets of conversation. They're talking about you. They're talking about a dragonfly, and you hear Edwin's voice kind of angrily insisting, Harlowe is gifted. She was able to, from her own mind's eye, create an exact replica in her drawings, in her sketchbook of the dragonfly I had yet to gift her. There's something there. You cannot ignore it. There is a gift in this young girl. And you can hear Professor Cobras simply saying words like, nonsense. There isn't I have more talent in my pinky than all of that that girl. She's, you spend too much time with her. I need you to focus on the tasks I have assigned you. And the argument kind of goes back and forth on like this for a little while until you hear Edwin. Honestly, Professor Cobras, I respect you as an academic, but as a guardian for that talented young woman out there, you fail miserably. And I will leave. I will refuse any further employment from you. I cannot work for such a tyrant. And I will take Harlowe with me. And you hear Professor Cobra say, no, you will do no such thing. There's silence for a moment. And then footsteps coming towards the door.
Okay, I am going to try to back up to the end of the hallway, I guess where the stairs are towards my room, so that I can be out of sight, or at least pretend that I'm just coming down or something if they see me.
Okay. See Edwin emerge from Professor Cobras' office. He doesn't seem to notice you at all. He walks right past you without even acknowledging you.
Edwin, where are you going? I'm gonna call out to him.
Doesn't respond. He continues walking.
I'm gonna follow behind him and like tug on his sleeve. Like, Edwin, thank you for the gift before. Do you have any stories? Are you going out on an expedition now?
Pauses as you tug on his sleeve to look back, but he doesn't look at you. It's almost as if he's looking through you. Still doesn't say a word. Turns around and keeps walking.
I'm gonna. This is so weird. I'm gonna jump on his back like a piggyback, because he's always been like an older brother, and if he's taking me somewhere, I'm going. See
right.
what he does.
Can you make either an athletics or acrobatics check to see if you can
Okay.
get onto his back?
Okay. Oh, it's gonna be acrobatics. Okay.
All right. You try to. He's quite a bit taller than you are, so you try to just grab onto him. You definitely cannot get onto his back. The best you can do is like halfway up his waist.
Yeah.
But even then, with that roll, you're unable to maintain your grip as he slows down. But it's as if he's just continues to try to walk forward. Doesn't
I'm
even
just
try to shake you off.
Okay.
And then you hear a voice behind you, Professor Cobras, calling, Harlowe, my office now.
Okay, when I hear him call, I'm going to stop, because nothing's more important than what the master wants to do and what he's studying. But this is really weird. I'm gonna like throw my little starfish lamp in front of Edwin and try to like distract him or see if he reacts. And I'm gonna like yell again, Edwin, what are you doing? Come back here. I don't understand.
He completely ignores you. And you can see the way he's walking. He's walking towards an exterior door that leads to the docks.
I guess I'm gonna. Well, I have to go to the professor's office, but I'm gonna try to watch and see if he just leaves. So I'm gonna follow him just up to the dock. It's so close.
Yep. He climbs down a ladder to a small rowboat, climbs in, unlatches the oars, unties the lashing to the dock, and starts rowing towards shore.
All right, I guess I'm gonna rip out the page in my sketchbook as he's getting the boat ready that has like a bunch of my drawings of like the plants and insects and things from the out islands. And I'm gonna write my name at the bottom. And I'm gonna put like to Edwin, my friend from Harlowe, and I'm gonna try to like put it in the boat or sneak it in his bag or something so that he has it, even though he's ignoring me. I don't really get it, but maybe he'll come back and I don't know. I'm gonna do that.
All right, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check for me, please.
Okay. Dang.
All right. So you are able to get it into the boat, but it just kind of falls to the bottom. You weren't able to secure it anywhere. It just kind
Okay.
of sitting there.
So it just depends on if he notices it, and I won't know. Okay. All right, I'm gonna sigh and just kind of watch him leave, and I'm gonna head to the office.
Okay. Here is Professor Cobras, looking stern as ever. And as you walk in, he says, close the door behind you.
All right, I close the door and I like run up. Professor, Edwin's being really weird. He just got here and then he just left and he was completely ignoring me. I don't understand what happened. What's wrong with him?
Never you mind about that young man. He won't be bothering us any longer.
He wasn't bothering me. What is going on?
He quit.
Why?
I'm afraid I am not at liberty to discuss matters of employment with you. Simply know that he will no longer be in my service. He will no longer be welcome at this outpost.
Is that what you called me here to tell me?
I want a report. How has your study of the arcane arts been progressing?
It's been going well. I've been focusing on lightning magic and trying to harness it into a reusable artifact of some kind.
Let me see.
Oh, okay. I only have a prototype so far, but you can take a look. And here are my notes. And I'm going to pull out my prototype lightning tether, which right now only tethers, it doesn't do damage. And my notes and plans for the final version.
He takes a look at your notes, leafing through your book. Doesn't say a word. Passes it back to you. Have you been receiving instructions from Professor Silverberry?
No, I mean, I just talk to him when I go in his library. You know, it's his library, but I do a lot of studying there since there's so many books on the things that I'm researching. He doesn't really give me instructions. You know, I'm not his apprentice or anything.
No, you are not. You are mine.
Exactly. That's why, you know, I'm focused on the things that we're focused on.
I would ask that you put more effort into your studies of the arcane arts and less time dabbling in the library of Professor Silverberry.
How am I supposed to do that without resources to study? I'm not dabbling, I'm researching, working on the things you asked me to work on, the topics of study that you've given me.
He stands up, walks over to a bookshelf, kind of looks at it for a moment, and pulls down a large volume, a green volume, kind of leather bound, thumps it on the table in front of you. I expect you to know and study this tome cover to cover within the month.
Okay, I mean, do you want me to memorize it? I've read it before. I I have a general understanding of all the concepts within this tome. I've read all of these books,
You
Professor. You know
need
that.
more than a general understanding. You must master this. Child, do you know the efforts I am undertaking to teach you in these ways? How important it is that you learn them.
Well,
Have
Professor, I
I?
mean, what else matters as much as this? This is all we do. But if there's something I don't know that you want me to, all you have to do is tell me. You know I'll listen.
Do you? Did you give him the sketchbook with your notes in it that showed both your lightning tether as well as the illustration of the dragonfly?
No, I opened it to the pages with that, but my workbook with my prototypes in it and my sketchbook are different.
Okay. He says, the notebook with your prototypes, he says, this is inadequate. What
Inadequate
else
for what?
can you
What
show
is,
me?
well, what's the goal?
To teach you the arcane arts. You continue to rely too much on mundane artifacts. You're not tapping into your potential.
Okay, well, perhaps if you gave me like a goal to work toward, because I've been given the subject, but without knowing what it is you want to see more specifically, I it seems as though the direction I'm going is not what you're looking for, and I don't know how to read your mind as much as I would like to.
He leans back in his chair, takes his glasses off, and just kind of rubs his eyes. I made a promise to teach you what I can, but this is like trying to teach a bird how to swim in the depths of the ocean. It's Tell me, you have a sketchbook in your possession. Show it to me.
Okay, I'm gonna pull out my sketchbook. Just hold it in front of him. What for?
He holds his hand out, basically asking you to hand it over.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Hand it over.
And he starts flipping through it. Can you describe what kind of sketches are in this book?
Yes, okay. So this sketchbook is where I put like anything that it's not like a lesson, or I don't necessarily have like it's like all my drafts. All my drafts and things that I happen to see. It might just be kind of like artistic sketches. I've got sketches of people from town, like when I go in to do his research and errands. Then I've got like a very first draft of like the lightning tether. Doesn't have any metrics or anything, but it's just like sort of an artistic rendering of what I imagine. And then I kind of work on it from there. And when I have something worth actually testing, I'll put it in my my workbook that has my prototypes and my technologies and things like that in it. And then I've got sketches of the different things that he's brought back from expeditions and things that he's described to me from the out islands that he wants me to study connections and things like that. So it's a whole scattering of different like technology, people, just my imagination and just all my sort of thoughts and things that I want to have like an image to sort of focus on.
All right. He starts, as he leaps through this, he pauses every once in a while to look at the sketches that you've drawn in this book. And he gets to the page with the dragonfly. And he lingers on this page. Doesn't say a word. Closes the book gently and then pushes it back towards you.
Thank you. And put it away. Were you looking for something in particular?
I've seen what I needed to. I will arrange lessons for you with Professor Tuttle when she returns from her expedition.
That's amazing. What kind of lessons?
Some of the things you have depicted in your sketches, she can teach you more about. And he points at your notebook with the lightning tether and stuff and says, that nonsense you can forget about.
I don't understand what about this is nonsense. It's just another form, another method to understand the way that the arcane arts can transform.
Nonsense. It has nothing to do with the arcane arts. It is simply gadgetry.
If it was
They-
simply gadgetry, it would create the lightning itself instead of being connected to the rhythms and have an arcane source.
He
You must
stands
see this from
up.
my notes. I don't understand what. I mean, if this isn't what you want me to study, I can focus on something else, but I don't see why it's not been valuable. It's taught me so much doing these experiments.
He stands up and walks around the table towards you. Places a hand on your shoulder. You immediately begin to feel heat coming from his hand. And it gets warmer and warmer and it's becoming uncomfortable, but he's not letting go. And he's looking at you And he tells you, look at me. You feel that power. That is arcane power. It comes from within, not through some machination or gadgetry. It comes from you. That is the difference. He lets his hand go, and you can still feel as if your shoulder is burning from his touch. And he stabs a finger at the green leather-bound tome that he put on the desk. And says, that is what is in this tome that you must learn to master. If you do not, looks like he's about to say something, but stops. Do you understand your assignment, Harlowe?
I think so. Connect with the arcane within me and use it without an intermediary, no gadgets.
Exactly.
Okay. What about Edwin?
Forget about Edwin. He's gone. He walks back around the desk, looks through the paperwork on his desk, ignoring you. He looks up, sees you're still standing there, and says, that is all.
Was there anything in my sketchbook that you thought was a worthy subject of study? Or should I start completely from scratch?
He is not looking at you. He's picked up his quill and he started to write something. He pauses when you ask that question. No. There's nothing of worth in that sketchbook either. Go ahead and make an insight check for me, though. You notice that as he paused and said no, one thing that you've noticed about Professor Cobras, that his cold, demanding exterior, the one tell that you've seen of him do that when he's bothered by something or nervous, is he starts to tap his finger. And he's tapping his quill right now on the paper, and it's leaving a bit of an ink blot on the paper he's writing. So you know something is bothering him that he refuses to tell you.
Okay. So I'm to abandon all of the studies of the natural subjects we used to study together and their connections to the arcane. I am to focus exclusively on this new subject and ignore the other things under your own purview?
He puts his pen or his quill down, looks up at you, and his eyes are cold and piercing, and he says, "Do you question my methods?"
No, I just want to make sure that I understand. I don't want to switch to this exclusively if I am meant to still continue studies on the other natural things that we've always studied. There's so many expeditions to the out islands, and researching the things that you bring back. I've always been a part of that. I've always done work for you. I just, I've always tried to focus on learning as much as I can about all of the things related to the work that you bring back and the things you've assigned me. I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding anything so I can make sure I do what you want, make you happy.
I want you to master the contents of that tome.
Okay.
Once you are able to do so, all of the work that we have been doing all these years might finally start to make sense to you. We've hit a brick wall. I have given you the tools to break your way through that wall. The rest is up to you. I can do no more.
Okay. That's very clear. Thank you, Master. I'll get reading. I'm going to take the book and I'm going to get up and I'm going to scratch the cat's head a little bit on my way out and go back to the library and start reading this book again.
Okay. And as you do so, off in the distance, fading now just to a tiny dot as it approaches the shore of the harbor, your friend Edwin. And that is the last you've seen of him.
Okay.
And that is where we'll end things.
Damn.
Good work. Good work.
Good work, guys.
Whoa.
That was awesome.
Gives you guys a little bit more context for who you are, maybe some clues as to what might be happening in the main campaign. And we'll pick up hopefully with everyone in 2 weeks. Although Sotto, I'm not sure when you're gone.
Not until the 30th. So we're good for 2 weeks from now.
All right, excellent. So we should have the whole gang here, and you guys can deal with that feathery menace in the alley.
Woo!
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys, and we'll
Thanks,
see you in a
Andrew.
couple of weeks.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
everybody.
great stuff. Great
Night.
stuff, guys.
Yeah.
See y'all.
Bye.